Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, to the Ghostfire Media Podcast here on Friday night. I am Adam Wood. To that way is Carl Henderson, that way is Josh Laston, and that is Nick Adams in the corner over there. How you doing tonight, gentlemen?
I'm pretty
Nobody
well.
wants
I'm on
to
my
go
crappy
first.
webcam.
I feel you, man. I'm on my laptop while I'm on here on vacation. How's it going down there, Josh?
You know what? I've had better days. We've had some serious storms rolling through northeast Ohio, and, well, I'll be the first to tell you that there's a chance I lose power tonight. So if we do lose the stream, no, it's because, you know what? Mother Nature does not like me.
All right, Nick, what about you, man?
Oh, I've been better. Feel like crap, and we'll see how long I hold out here tonight. But I'll make everybody feel happy, and I'll tell them how amazing the 96-degree weather has been. Yeah, that's
I think
fantastic.
mine hit 100 here in North Carolina. I don't even know what it's going to be like in Texas when I get back next week.
The heat index up here today was 111 degrees.
Yep,
Yeah, that's
same here.
not hot or anything. Nope, I'm not melting.
I mean, at
I
least
live in
it
a
hasn't
fucking
been.
igloo.
At least it hasn't been terribly hot. We've just had crap weather.
Listen, I live in Massachusetts. It's the New
He's
England.
like,
It's the country's equivalent to an igloo. I enjoy it being cold. I don't like it when it's 111 degrees. That's not fun. Anything over 85 is terrible. Shouldn't exist.
I'll
We'll
agree with that.
we'll give it to you.
all right. Hey, Justin, thanks for tuning in, man. I see you out there in the chats. But oh man, it's been a blast. I've been here on vacation in North Carolina, kind of been away from iRacing and everything. Still did the Monday Night Leagues feels, but I can't wait to be back next week and then kind of get back into the whole iRacing groove and get everything, get away from this reconstruction. I've been doing remodeling and reconstruction in my daughter's room due to water damage, and it's been a pain in the ass.
Yeah, that's a vacation right there doing construction.
That's every vacation I take these days is some form of housework.
Oh yeah, I took my vacation last year in February and I did the kitchen. Then I took another one in June and I did the floor. I take a vacation next February. I'll probably do the bathroom.
Yeah,
Yeah, I still got to.
do that.
No
I
one
still
told
gotta-
me. No one told me all the fun there was including owning a house. They just told me it was nice to own your own place. You can do whatever you want to it. But they forgot to tell you still have to do it all. Even though you can do whatever you want, you still got to do it.
Yeah. Oh man, but I mean, we had a fantastic week so far. I mean, we had a great race at Sebring with fuel. Let's see, we Tuesday night we had the Indy Oval with IVRL. Or
Which
where
was
were we?
surprisingly good.
Sportsman for AOLL was Nashville Super Speedway last night for TNT with Charlotte, and man, do we got some stuff to talk about with that one. And then actually this past Sunday, good lord, that
Was it
was
Watkins Glen?
yeah, that was the Glen. I keep forgetting we're a week behind
That was
everyone else.
Effing nightmare.
It was a delight.
It's an effing nightmare.
But yeah, I've not raced Nashville Super Speedway yet. I've missed every single one of the opportunities, and I hear it's a great track.
It's a better track to watch a race at than it is to be a part of, though.
The major problem was it was my first time running Nashville Super Speedway, and I was not prepared for the tire wear, and it showed.
Yeah.
Speaking of Nashville, our own Carl Henderson was on vacation this past weekend. Went to what I would call a cluster muck of a IndyCar race in the streets of Nashville. So, Carl, you want to give us your opinion on that before we get into our racing?
Well, yeah, I didn't see much of anything. I mostly saw the back of other people's heads and heard some cars going past me. But no, it was. I genuinely had a great time. They had a cool setup there. Biggest complaint I had was that they had no water refilling stations. They wouldn't allow you to bring in your own beverages, and waters were $5 a bottle. So, and it was very much needed. So I spent way more money than I should have on water slash like Bud Light. So
So, what you're
So
telling me
you
is
were
they
drinking
wanted you
water
to die.
anyway, just in a can.
yeah, basically, yeah.
Let me tell you, after last night's Patriots game, realizing that Bud Light and then water just don't equal it when it's that hot, I can only imagine
Yeah,
how
it was
much of a
miserable.
headache you had the next day.
Yeah, it was not fun.
All right.
All right.
So I think it's time to go ahead and get this kicked off tonight. We have Nicholas Weatherby from the IVRL getting ready to talk about wonderful times at Indy.
Hey Nick, you there, man?
Yes, sir.
Outstanding, man. How's your night going?
It's going pretty good.
All right. Well, go ahead and remind the viewers. Go ahead and tell the viewers that you were on quite a bit ago, a couple months ago. So go ahead and remind the viewers who you are and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Nicholas Weatherby. I am part of the IVRL Butt Kicker Cup Series. I am from upstate New York, now currently located in North Carolina. I like NASCAR. Also, I like dirt racing. I like graphic design. I like photography. Yeah, that's pretty much all that stuff.
Long walk to the beach, late at
Oh,
night with
yes.
someone.
Definitely the beach.
You gotta
Perfect.
drive a few hours to go see some muddy waters there in North Carolina or South Carolina.
There's a lot of muddy water here. The drainage here is terrible.
But hey man,
North Carolina or
so
South
I don't know if we talked to you last time about it. Do you have any like real world experience, or are you just mostly simulation experience?
Definitely simulation experience. I would like some real world experience, but who knows? Maybe someday.
Like, keep up with this momentum you have after the summer break for the Olympics. You're going to be challenging Kazi for driver of the year here in a championship, because you have been by far the most consistent guy since we come back from the break.
I'm still surprised they even won that race. I thought, well, actually, Kazi himself said he didn't like that track. So, but I mean, knowing Kazi, he says he'll suck at a track, but he'll go out
Yeah.
and win it.
Yeah, let's go back and look at his 13 wins this year. About 8 of them the week before on the broadcast when we talked about winning the week before. He goes, "Oh, I suck there. I'm going to be terrible." And he comes out and he's a half second faster than everybody. So when he say he doesn't like a track, I think he's a liar. I flat out call him a liar every time I talk to him now, because he always tells me he doesn't like a track.
Yeah, I love Indianapolis, so I mean, I figured I would have a good spot, like finishing position, but I did not think I would win it.
So you had some interesting battles on Tuesday, especially with Patrick Gaspar at the end of the second stage, and then you really kind of drove away in the final stage because of the strategy that played out with you guys. But how was it out there on the track with those guys on Tuesday?
So dirty air was actually a pretty big thing, especially when you were right on someone's tail, especially drafting. Drafting was huge. But me and Patrick, we got out to like, I don't know, 2 second gap from the rest of the pack. We were pretty much on our own. I was trying to get a gap, or no, not a gap, a draft on them, and I eventually did. I can't remember. Did I go underneath him in the final corner?
I believe, yeah. I think the race winning pass you went to is inside, because the race winning pass was right near the end of stage 2. Because when you went into stage 3, you went and got 4 tires, and he took 2, and that you were able to pull out by about 8 seconds before the pit stops.
Yeah, he tried to undercut me, which, I mean, if I was in his position, which I would probably try and do, but I don't try and take those risks. I tried a 2 tire stop one time in elite in like a official race on iRacing, and I definitely regret it. I regret it. I instantly got loose and I lost it.
Yeah, the 2 tire stops that I've ever done, the car is just driving on ice for about 5 or 6 laps, and I mean you're doing more, damage control, trying not to run it, lose the car with those 2 tires versus just taking 4. So I think you kind of lose it. And it also depends on what track, but most of the tracks just been terrible.
You actually spoke about
Yeah.
him trying to undercut you in the final stage there when you guys went in. In the middle of the first stage, you had an opportunity to win the first stage as well. Oh no, I'm sorry, it was the second stage. It was the second stage you had an opportunity to win. You were on him for most of the second stage, and you were about a half second behind him. He pitted. You stayed out for an extra lap, and he took a 5.5 second lead on you after that. Did that make you realize how powerful the undercut was there at that point?
Yeah, it did make me realize that because to be honest, I didn't even realize he undercutted me. Because luckily for me, I had Charles Gearick and Harvey Abrams in there, and so they told me when Patrick was pitting because they knew I had a pretty good chance of winning. So I kind of got to give them credit because they told me the details I needed to know. Because Charles was usually behind Patrick as far as like maybe a second back or something like that, and he would know when he's pitting. But yeah, it definitely caught me off guard because I did not expect him to pit that soon. I think I went like another 2 laps longer than him. But I knew that if he short pitted, I would have fresher tires than him no matter what. So that's what gave me the confidence to the restart to just pass him.
Well, there you go. So next Tuesday, we go to the Motor City. We're going to, well, close to the Motor City. We're going to Michigan. And we will be there at the Michigan Super Speedway. So, do you like Michigan? Are you fast at Michigan?
I haven't driven at Michigan in a while. I do know that it is kind of a mid lane track. You kind of want to run up near the top, especially in real life races. I think they either use the very bottom or the like second to last lane of the top. So I feel if we get enough drivers, which I hope, it'll definitely be a fun race. I definitely know Daytona there will be everyone that was in the league originally is going to hop into that race because that race anyone can get in to the playoffs. So that Daytona race I'm also looking forward to. But Michigan, I am kind of, I gotta say, I don't really know what to think that like how I'll do. I haven't driven at that track in a while.
I mean, for me, like when I drive Michigan, I know it's a momentum based track. I mean, you miss your mark, or especially when the tires get older, you have to keep up the momentum going through the corners. So if you get on the throttle too late, or it pushes you a little bit too much with the worn tires, and you lose that momentum, I mean, people will pass you left and right. So you have to hit your marks and basically throughout the whole entire race, man. And the draft is kind of king there too. I mean, it pulls you in the corners a little bit faster than you're used to during practice and solo qualifying when you're doing that. So I mean, there's a lot of different aspects of Michigan that I like. And 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 are totally different corners in my opinion. You got to run 2 different lines for it. So I really like Michigan. I'm looking forward to being back next Tuesday and racing it.
Yeah, I feel turns 1 and 2 you take the bottom, and then 3 and 4 you run the top. I at least think that's how it should be ran, but I don't know. I definitely need to do some practice laps. I hadn't even started practicing. I need to do that. And actually, the Indianapolis race, I didn't get any practice in because my internet was out. Had to get a new modem and everything. So that practice was the practice session that was in the race and pretty much the entire race.
Is there anything intimidating to either of you, Adam or Nicholas, about going off into a corner at Michigan at 206, 207 miles an hour?
Yeah, that would scare me. Yeah.
I mean, you just have to be able to hit your marks. Like I said, like whenever you start getting a little bit more worn tires, when you're releasing going in the corners to not abuse your tires, to try to do some tire savings. I mean, you're gonna have to kind of back up the corners, especially if you get a huge run. These Cup cars get, a decent amount of run if you're get a good run off of turn 2 and going down that back straightaway. You can pick up quite a few miles an hour on the guy in front of you, which throws your whole entire entry off of 3, with so much more momentum going into the corner. So it's, it can be a little bit weary because, you try to make use of that extra speed that you got going in the corner, and the car's going to definitely push if you don't pay attention to it whenever you're trying to be a little bit more aggressive to get by somebody.
Yeah, clean air will be very important. Dirty air, just like Indianapolis, except Indianapolis is actually more flat than Michigan. Michigan is more banking, so I think you could use more throttle mid corners than you could at Indianapolis. Also a high steering ratio too. For Indianapolis, I used a 12-to-1. That really helped me with tire saving. Also, it was me while following Patrick's line. It's what probably got me to pass him. He was running the preferred line, which is underneath the white line, which is where you want to run. And I was just following that, and I eventually perfected that, and I used that to my advantage. In turns 1 and 2, I would really catch him off of the exit, and then I don't even know. Would you call that 3 and 4 that little kink?
I would. What in Indy?
Yeah.
That's a little short shoot between 3 and 4.
All right. Then yeah, I would definitely catch him right there as far as speed, because I would hit the gas earlier than him.
So tell me this, what was your thinking when the caution came out late in the final stage there? I mean, you had a hell of a run, a huge gap between you and second place, and a caution comes out. I mean, were you like, oh crap, there goes my chance?
I, to be honest, I was livid. I was so mad. I was so mad because I was like, these guys couldn't drive for another lap. I was about to hit the white flag, and yeah, that that made me really mad. And then when it came out again, I went over the intercoms. I'm like, guys, come on, let's get at least 2 more laps in. That's all we need. And I'm just happy after that final caution. After the green white checkered, they finally gathered. Actually, they didn't. They kept wrecking when I took the white flag. So I'm just happy I got past the white flag, and then no cautions could come out.
I gotcha, man. Yeah, I mean, you, like Nick said, you've been on fire, man. Even before that, you were up front on all the road courses prior to it. You've been up front whenever you ran. I mean, you've had some bad luck while running up front too. So the finishes weren't there for a little bit, but throughout the race you were there. So some of the races you didn't get the finishes that you deserve, but it looks like you're trending upwards with getting those the finishing places that you have been deserving of.
Yeah, Road America was unfortunate. I hit the pit wall. That ruined my.
You didn't spin out when you took the lead.
Oh yes, I am very thankful that never happened to me yet. I shouldn't say to me. Darlington, I was really looking forward to that race, but I just had bad luck. I think, yeah, I got into an accident. I don't know who was it, Causey or something like that. I don't know. Me and him, we got into a little scuffle in turns 3 and 4. No hard feelings though. Honestly, that was probably one of my. I was so excited for that track. It sucked I didn't get to do well because I love running the wall. But I am looking forward to the next Darlington race. I'll be running a throwback. I don't know who yet, but I will be. Phoenix, the last race, I don't know if I would get that far in the playoffs, but Phoenix was also kind of not nice to me as well, especially the final stage, the final few laps. Some of us were on very worn tires. I managed to save mine, so I tried to use the most of it in the final run or green white checkered. I think we had a wreck. And I accidentally got into Greg Holt and whatnot, and I think I got like an 8th place or actually something like that. That was frustrating, but again, no hard feelings. But other than that, I'm looking forward to the rest of the playoffs. Actually, I need to look through the schedule and see what the playoff races or schedule is going to be for playoffs. I know Darlington is in it.
There's quite a bit of mix of different style tracks, so that's what I like about it. I just hate that the final track is Phoenix. I'd rather it be Homestead. I want to go back to Homestead for the final race, not Phoenix.
Yeah, I love running the wall at Phoenix. I mean, Homestead. God, not Phoenix.
Well, I mean, you can run the wall at Phoenix, just won't end well.
Not at all.
No, not at all. That'll ruin your entire race.
So, yeah, man. Let's see. Trying to think. We've already talked about that. Michigan, we talked about upcoming or the last race. Is there any race that you're other than Darlington? I mean, that you got pinpointed that's going to be yours for the rest of the season? That's one of those things that that's your track. You got the best hope at winning.
I'll have to say Daytona, the second race, the final race of the regular season. I'm okay at plate tracks. I think the last time I don't even think I've driven yeah, we did Talladega, didn't we?
Yeah.
Okay. Then I think I finished. I can't remember that race. Oh my god.
It's etched in Adam's mind because that was his win.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. He
I
won
remember
that.
it.
then yeah, I finished that race because I remember. I remember that then. Yeah, I remember it now. Yeah, I think I got a top 10 in that race. It's mostly teamwork based, but with the new drafting model and whatnot, which we already raced in, it'll be, since we know how to like pretty much drive it now, I think it'll be interesting what those that are teaming up can do to get to the front. The bottom lane is going to be dominant, so I'm going to make sure to stay down there as much as possible. I mean, the top lane can come in, but there has to be enough drivers to stick with it.
Yeah, it definitely takes some finesse for this new package, and it takes a lot of cars to make the outside line work. You got to have either the same amount or if not even more cars in the outside lane to get the momentum on the bottom. And then you got to hope the bottom shuffles a lot. You got to make sure, leave some gaps. Not everybody's giving that arrow push because you don't have to be on the back bumper anymore to give that arrow push whenever you're like, second, third, fourth, fifth in line. You can, leave a car length gap or not really, half a car length gap and still get that arrow push that they need. So, side drafting is king. So if the outside line can perfect that and get enough cars up there, they can make it work.
Yeah, that's what I'm happy about with the new drafting packages. You don't need to actually hit the person in the rear to push them. They can just get pushed by the pocket of air, which makes me more comfortable instead of hitting someone right in the rear and turning them on accident because they get so unsettled.
That and your engine temperatures will be a little bit better by not be on that rear bumper for a lap and a half trying to keep them up there.
Yeah, okay, so the next gen, I actually am in a league for them. The drafting is terrible with that car at Daytona. That was the first race.
Didn't you win it this week? Is that you who won?
Yeah, I won Auto Club. That track was very drafting based. Ridiculous. You couldn't make the bottom work because you would have no drafting there. The car next year is going to be so drafting based. I mean, it was fun to drive, but it would not be fun to watch. I can't really say I'm excited for next year. I mean, it's a new car. That's exciting, but it's just I don't know if the racing will live up
I
to.
I mean, my experience so far with, iRacing's version of what they're thinking it's going to be is we did Michigan, and uh, I had Randy Pepper blow my doors off down the back straightaway. I mean, I felt like I was sitting still because, I mean, they were getting that much of a run. I mean, it was great to be able to see these cars not be affected that much by the pocket of air, so to speak. They're able to like really close the gap. It wasn't like, okay, I'm catching their back bumper, I'm catching their back bumper. All right, that pocket air squeezed me before I could actually, slow me down before I actually can pop out and make a move. Whereas this next gen car, you're able to like close almost all the way up to the back bumper and then hang a left and then go by them. You can really use it up, and then that bubble really didn't exist, so to speak. I don't know if it's just bad physics or unknown physics of what it's going to be, but that's what I like about the next gen car, and I think I want to join get into a next gen league as well to start working with that car.
It also turned Michigan into a super speedway.
You still had to, I think you still had to brake a lot going in the corners. It wasn't as heavily as the Cup cars were, but especially solo though. Solo, yeah, it's a straight super speedway. You just flat footed all the way around.
Well, we also ran the next gen cars with AOL in at Iowa, and it was a similar deal. It was kind of wide open solo, and then in the pack it was just kind of just barely lifting off the throttle if you were directly behind someone, and I thought it was a lot of fun. I mean, it was like this constant battle of like trying to see how hard you could push it to the edge. Because it would try to go around on you, but it was still stable. I mean, at least at Iowa, which is like about my only experience with the next gen car, I really enjoyed it.
That's actually the number one complaint that a lot of the drivers have, is that it seems like next season they've been complaining for about 3 years that the car is too easy to drive, and now it's turned into every 1.5 or 2 mile racetrack is going to drive like Daytona and Talladega.
Well, see, I'm not even talking about NASCAR. Like, I mean, just
that's
on iRacing.
That's where the
Yeah.
car is going to have to be. That's the problem, is that if it's going to be the way it's driving on iRacing, is the way it's going to drive.
Well, they're not
in real
gonna. They
life.
don't know yet because they don't
It's
have
the concern of a lot of the drivers who have done testing, is that that's how the car is driving.
But they haven't really driven in a race situation yet. They've done a lot of solo runs and things like that. Personally, I thought Iowa drove nothing like a super speedway. It was, a lot more wide open than I'd be in the current gen car. But I mean, it was still challenging to a degree. It wasn't like, I don't know, it's hard. It was easy to control, but it was difficult to be really fast. We still had guys like, I can remember, in that race, Blake Gordon blew my doors off. That's not surprising. I mean, that's the that's what I would expect to see out of Blake.
Yeah, and like I would say it's so easy it's hard. It's like, so we got to keep in mind though that they're still testing it as we speak right now. Like, they just did a test at like a few weeks ago at Texas on tire load, to see how much load the tires get in each corner. It's a sensor, and actually the Toyota Camry wrecked at Texas, and apparently it was because he got into the PJ1 and he wrecked. So that is probably a sign that no more PJ1 hopefully will be in place, even though it sometimes brings in good racing. I don't really see it as a positive effect.
I was going to say it completely screwed over the Texas race at Indy this year.
Yeah, they couldn't even touch the top. They couldn't touch the top because it would just absolutely upset the car and ruin them and make them spin out. It was ridiculous.
I'm about 90% sure that they made the decision after New Hampshire to no longer put PJ1 on the racetrack.
Oh, that was the best racing I've seen in New Hampshire with this package.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was the announcement the weekend of New Hampshire, that they decided that at least at SMI racetracks But they will no longer use PJ1.
If well, okay, so the next gen at short tracks like Darlington and whatnot will be an absolute blast to watch. I already know it. If you watch the what was it, the All-Star race with the NASCAR guys? I mean, we can only go based off of them, sadly, as far as like professional or deal kind of stuff. That was entertaining to watch. I don't know about you guys, because they were constantly going at each other at the corners.
Yeah. Oh, man.
And like I have a feeling short tracks like New Hampshire, Martinsville, of course. Martinsville will always be eventful. But like those half miles will be probably the stars of the show.
Yeah. We'll see. I mean, next year's going to be a great year for NASCAR. I hope it's going to be different. It's going to be a different look on the track that we've seen in quite a long time. So, and then hopefully by then, more physics and learning about it can make the driving characteristics in iRacing differently. Because I mean, that's how they learn. They see the real world telemetry, and then they try to replicate it here in iRacing. So. Hopefully, we'll get some better setups and get a better understanding when they understand it more. Whenever they get out there and do some more actually do pack racing on these mile and a half super speedways. So we'll figure it out. But hey, man, we appreciate you coming on tonight and joining us. And congratulations on your win last week at Indy. And we hopefully will see you at least in the top 3 next week. I will be there with you in the wonderful singles guys and general chat. Hang out and have some fun.
Yes, sir.
All right, man. Have a good one.
You too.
I've thought about in a few of the leagues just popping down into the solo chat just to meet new people, and obviously most of the guys in these leagues are characters in their own right, and I don't have to listen to Nick in race chat.
The very animated Nick.
That's an understatement.
The viewers at home listen to this on the podcast on Spotify cannot see what Nick is doing right now, but
okay, I'll tell. Go fuck yourself, Josh.
You're
There
the
you
little
go.
brother of the group and CCR, so we're just gonna do it. We're gonna make fun of you at all costs.
Thank you for at least rephrasing what you said.
Yeah,
all right.
caught myself mid-sentence.
All right. So the next league we want to bring in tonight is going to be Fuel. We have Michael Stroll coming in. He's been having a really great finishes the past week. I know this Sebring was challenging. Everybody here had something to deal with Sebring, so everybody's going to have a wonderful talk. I got to view it. These guys got to race it.
I gave up.
I'm not. I blew my fucking motor. I'm not talking about it.
2 bombs.
Yep, we have one more, and Nick will
All right,
probably use it in the next 20 minutes.
20 seconds.
Oh, give me some credit. I can at least make it a half hour.
Oh, all right. Well, we're bringing in Michael Stroll, man. How are you doing tonight?
Sorry, you cut out when I turned my camera on. What's up?
Hey, man, how you doing tonight? See, you're not on vacation now. You're at home in your rig, so it's good to see you.
Yeah. Vacation was hot, but like you guys said, but it's hot where I'm at right now in PA, and I've been out in it since like 6 a.m. So I'm kind of beat. Went to done a music festival with the family, so I'm just finally now having a good one of these.
The thing that was
Gotta get that.
unavailable to me until like 5 years ago.
Got to get those plugs in for the sponsor. I understand.
Yeah, I wish they would give me some attention, but when I reached out, they ignored me. So
They all
whatever.
do that.
Yeah, they do that.
Yeah, they like the free sponsorship. They just don't want to pay you.
Yeah. That's fine. What's up? How you guys doing?
It's a wonderful evening here on this glorious Friday the 13th.
Oh,
Oh, it is part of the 13th.
I didn't
How about that?
make that connection either.
No.
The entire week felt like Friday the 13th.
Yeah, it's been a long week.
Wow.
So
So, gentlemen, we'll start talking about it. Sebring. Uh, Michael's one of the admins. I'm not sure which one of was he the one fighting for this track to be in it or what it was, but so far I've seen mixed reviews through the group chats for it. So, what's your take on Wonderful Sebring?
When we were discussing the schedule about maybe 3 months ago already, I know Alan really pushed for the 3 road courses that are on there, and I was apprehensive because I'm not really a road course guy to begin with, but I like road courses. I'm just not really that good at them. So I was like, Sebring's not really like a NASCAR road course. I wasn't sure how that would be perceived, but and how it would go. But I thought it went well. Um, I was actually had some sort of pace, more pace than I thought I would for myself. And we had 40 cars, which blew my mind. I was expecting maybe like 25, but that 40 cars on a non-road course, racetrack, non-NASCAR road course, sorry, really healthy and made me happy. As far as what people thought, it's road course. I think no matter what road course we went to,
Yeah.
somebody was gonna bitch.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's kind of what you get when you run a league. You're not gonna make everybody happy. Like I run a football pool at work, and some guys are like, "Well, we should do this and we should do that," or when I have like poker games at my house, oh, the rules should be this way or that way. You just kind of have to learn with whatever you're doing, And here's what we're doing, and you can either come play and come have fun and go along with it or not.
Yeah, and like I said up in the booth, man, 40 cars showing up for a road course is, unheard of. Most people, like, hey man, that's gonna be my drop week or this is gonna be my bye week. I'm just gonna take this week off. I've raced in quite a few leagues, and that's the kind of mentality. There's only, you got the few die-hard people who really love road courses, and you got the people who really love the league and they'll race no matter what. And then you got the other people who are like, nah, I'm not doing that, bro. And it's really great
Yeah,
to
we
see
got
that.
about maybe I would say 4 guys in our league that are really good at road courses. You got Riley Thompson who led every lap, and I think he's won 4 straight road courses in our league now. And you got Thomas Bressy who's won a couple. Allen's pretty fast, and then I think I saw Blake was pretty good. Justin Morton's pretty good. So that's those are your 5 guys, and in practice they were kind of out there on their own, and then we had a group of like from like 6th to like 13th that were on top of each other, and then there was everybody else. I thought, from my vantage point, the race went pretty clean. I didn't see too many, dumb things. I didn't see, some people blew corners. I blew corners. I spun out, but nothing like,
Cool.
yeah. I thought Daytona was worse than Sebring. So there's that.
Well,
Yeah.
I think we had that one lap one wreck that happened like in the third corner, maybe second corner, something like that. That was a complete disaster. But other than that, I agree. I mean, I was running towards the back of the field quite a bit. People were clean for the most part. They'd run off track. They'd wait in the grass for people to go by, and then they come back out. It was awesome.
Or
Yeah,
if
that's
you're
what-
me, you sit around the corner under the
I was
bridge
gonna
and
say
run
you look like
radar.
a cop at a speed
Hey.
trap.
I spun out, and there was 41 cars coming, and I was like, well, you know what? This is a really long racetrack, but I'm not going to get out before they get around that corner.
I'm coming out of those S's, and the crew chief was like, oh, there's a car stopped at the head. I'm like, all right, where the fuck is he at? And then I'm like, where is he? I didn't see anybody. And then right when I passed the tire barrier, I see you. I'm like, whoa, yo, there's this dude sitting here like a state trooper. I don't know
Yeah,
how
that
you
was
got
me.
over there.
I spun out, and I was in the middle of the track, but you guys were like 4 seconds behind me, and I was like, there's no way I get up to speed before they come around that corner. So I had 2 options: gun it and pray to God nobody hit me, or just put it in reverse and slowly back up and wait.
Yeah, don't do the gun it and hope and pray thing, because
Yeah, that's why
9
I thought
times out of 10 you're gonna get clobbered, and then someone's like cussing you out, and then that's not good. Like that's what we don't want. We don't want like ARCA braking. We don't want stuff like that. If you get in trouble, just stay in trouble till it's clear.
I do have to
I
say,
wasn't going to win, so I was fine with being a lap down.
I do have to say that was actually one of the positives that I saw with Sebring is it's a big enough track to where it took forever for those leaders that were way faster than me to actually get up to me.
Yeah, it's like I don't know how long the course is. I was just trying to keep it on the track. That's my
Carl, you mentioned the turn 2 or 3 incident on the first lap. the incident was in turn 2 the first time, and then the next quarter there was another incident, and that incident was me. They started it, and I finished it for them.
Yeah, from my vantage point, because I was like, I think I started like 7th, and I saw Alan. He kind of got a little too hot, and he got in the dirt, and he carefully came back on, but then the guys behind him like just bulldozed.
check.
Yeah. And
Well, you had some people that bulldoze. You had some people that brake checked because I talked to man, name slips me, the number 11. Whenever he got up in the booth, and he's like, yeah, he said, like, he's like, hey man, I saw him go off. I saw him coming back on. I didn't know if he was going to jerk it on and just like slam him back down there in front of everybody.
Set on.
Yeah, and then
That's what she said.
and yeah, I have to leave these open, man. This is what this is about.
I don't know if I want to be. I don't know if I want to be jerked on. I'd rather be.
Hey, hold on, wait. We are inclusive here at GFM.
All
If
right.
you like to be jerked on, off, next to, whatever. We're
But,
inclusive. Do it on your own time.
But Horton, he said that he kind of slowed down a little bit, which then stacked up the field, and then all hell broke loose behind us there, and a lot of stuff. But I right quick while I have I'm talking. Blake Gordon, he commented down here, and he said he really appreciated and he was super thankful that you guys listened, the admins, and switched to the full layout. And thanks again. That was a fun race.
I want to talk about Blake for a second, because when we first got together with you guys, I would look at like what leagues you guys covered, and then I went to like the AOL standings, and I'm like, this guy. Like, so I came over. I'm like, I gotta get this guy with us to see how you stack up. And I'm glad he decided, because I asked him a couple of times. He's like, the competition is deep in fuel, and it is. And then you got your guys in the back. Someone's got to finish last. Someone's got to finish first. But I really think what we have now. I mean, Daytona wasn't surprising to get more, or to get the field we had. I think every season we have in fuel, we start with Daytona, it's always a full field, and then like by week 3, maybe 2, we get like half, and then it stays at like 20 the whole year. I'm confident we can stay at 30 the whole year, and that was one of our goals.
Honestly,
Well, so far the lowest
been...
is 40.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's one of those things that we look at other leagues, and people start to drop as they aren't like running for the championship and all that, because that's all it's about. But like, honestly, just running with this group, everybody's a great time. I haven't come across anybody that I'm just like, yeah, screw that guy.
It used to be real toxic, and real like I feel like fuel maybe had like the meme league kind of tagged onto it. I kind of heard that through the grapevine, and we, like I think I said last time I was on the podcast, we really worked hard to rid of that, like without making it like too serious where it's off-putting to guys that don't run as well. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and then Blake said that maybe sometimes the entry fee kind of helps, because it's the more serious people who are going to come in if they're going to pay into it.
Yeah, we were kind of nervous with that, especially Will, because Will was like, this has never been a league yet to pay into. So we're like, well, maybe if, we do that, it would help some people stick around regardless of how well they ran. But I think we have USA. USA might be a little with cautions.
I'm just looking forward to
43 cars.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to 43 cars on that. What? 3/4 of a mile?
Like when you're at Bristol, you have a decent amount of space between people at the start of the race. If you look at USA, it's going to be 20, maybe 15 laps before the leaders are at the back of the pack.
Yeah,
I can't wait to see pit road. Does USA even have 43 stalls?
It's probably going to be shared.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't answer that, to be honest.
I'll look right now.
Well, I mean that, and if you're spread out going through pit road, and you have to pit, maybe like you're at the back of the pack, got damage, and you're like, crap, it's enough damage, I should come in and pit and try to heal up or do something. You're probably gonna go a lap down. It's a small track. You got 40, 30 plus cars, 40 cars. You could go a lap down. I've done it in like other leagues on smaller tracks. I'm pitting from 22nd, and I go almost like borderline a lap down. I was like, this is crazy.
That's when you kind of damage intermediately, or however you want to say it. Do a little bit here, do a little bit there. I'm confident it won't be a total shit show, even if we get a full field.
Can we run it in dirt?
No,
Damn.
I think Will's pretty adamant on not having dirt in Premiere.
Hey, just while we have a second here, Josh, if you wouldn't mind checking my volume since you haven't been looking at your messages, in case I need to say anything. So.
No,
Sounds fine to me.
Yeah, it has 37 pit stalls.
Interesting. Looks like a couple guys gonna be shit out of luck.
Well, I think iRacing, if you break like the pit limit, it ends up sharing stalls.
Swear, I've heard that. I'm not 100% honest, for sure.
We'll find out Monday night.
How does
Yeah,
that even
yeah.
work? Does it? I mean, do you just pit at different times? I don't.
Well, no, you go through people in pit road.
Okay.
iRacing is still that's like the only arcade part of iRacing left is that you go through people on pit road.
I
So,
couldn't imagine them changing.
when you pit,
Yeah.
I can't wait for them to finally change it. It'll be nice when
Well,
people actually have to
I-
pay attention when they exit and enter their stalls.
I think the horrible though the spotters, unless they get a huge upgrade, nobody's going to be able to tell you that, hey, you got a car coming up out of pit road, so it's going to be
Yeah,
going to be
there's-
a hard learning curve if they ever
There's
do.
free alternatives that don't take up much space in your computer, like Crew Chief, that are
No, but I'm saying there's nothing that tells you on pit road you don't get it inside outside. There's no like somebody else. The only thing you get on pit road is your countdown.
Yeah,
I've gotten inside on pit road before when somebody's to my left.
Yeah, I think if they would implement that, not ghost the cars, that they should at first make it an option, for like leagues, like don't just go into it. So, we'll see.
Kind
What
of like the tire model. The tire models, for official, but in league races, or the tire sets and stuff.
happens.
And I like that aspect. We're able to move away from just everybody gets as much tire, unlimited to, let's have 3 sets of tires.
Yeah, it'll be nice when they give us the choose rule as well.
Yeah.
They have to get the lucky dog first. They have to get that corrected first before they can actually implement the choose rule.
But so Michael, who do you think has the best shot at this wonderful short track we got coming up?
You got Cameron Hearn, Allen. I'll put my name in a hat 'cause I'm pretty somehow okay at short tracks. I think all my fuel wins have been at short tracks. I found myself at almost all the short tracks. So there's that. If my teammate Braxton shows up, he'll be up there. You got Eric Wineland. He's pretty good at short tracks. I'm trying to think who else in sportsman's up there. Those are probably the 5. I know like guys like Thomas Bressy, he don't really like the really, really small tracks, but he'll probably be up there regardless. So there's 5 guys I'll throw in the hat.
Well, I just want to add, USA is without a doubt my best track. I think I might be able to get my first top 20 if I play my cards right.
Yeah, it's just a simple oval. It's just like, I love USA. I'm sad it doesn't exist anymore. But anytime I run there, I've had a good time.
It's like every other short track, though.
Yeah,
Survival of the smartest.
and anything, if it drives like any short track currently, it's like Richmond without the D on the straightaway. So if you're okay at Richmond, you should be okay here. And last time we were at Richmond, Allen killed us. So
Oh man, do you think that it's going to be a one group track? Everybody's fighting for the bottom, or do you think everybody's going to be able to get that outside lane to work?
I think I think the outside lane. I don't think you can go up there and make a pass, but I think you can definitely hold your own up there if you get kicked out of the groove. Because with the B car, you kind of need the whole track to complete a pass, and that's gonna be the problem. Like once you get on the inside of somebody, you're gonna have the inside guy kind of going in like 10 feet deeper to kind of clear that guy, maybe like wash him up a little bit and dive in the corner, come off just to clear him. You're gonna get that kind of stuff. The problem, like we had at Nashville, it's kind of the same, almost the same kind of track because people hitting the wall, bouncing off and come back across. So that's one thing we'll have to watch. That happened to me in another league race on Wednesday. It happened to me twice. Someone hit the wall before and cleaned me out. So that's USA's pretty smooth, where Nashville's really bumpy. Nashville kind of throws you around a little bit, but I'm confident. With the experience I've had in this league, without even before I was in admin that we can be pretty clean, even with 40 people.
I'm gonna have to run an AI race to see how long the train is with 40 cars. Just because
I didn't think of that. I have not even tried the AI in Sim yet, to be honest.
there are certain levels, and Adam and I have talked at length about this. If you take it over like 75% for like the skill level, they are unnaturally fast. Like there's no way you could ever like keep up with them.
In Talladega in the draft, they pulled away from me. They were doing about 210.
That's crazy.
Yeah, they just pulled away. Like my car I was like literally right behind them, and they just pulled away from me. I couldn't even stay in the draft. So yeah, so I found like a good balance of probably like skill set around 45 to 60 is really good. If you want decent amount of just to see what type of lanes you want. If you want challenging, you can kind of move up to 65. To where they're gonna pull away from you and you're gonna try to find the lane or whatever the hell they have to do. And each track is different.
Right.
But it's surprisingly fun. And it'll get you used to running around people without actually having to run with people.
And the tracks that do have AI racing, you're able to go in and modify like a normal league race or a hosted session where you can adjust the fuel weight, since once again in any of the NASCAR series you can't adjust the fuel rates during normal practice. You either have to post up a practice server or an AI race if it exists for the race that you're going for to adjust the weight ratios for it.
Oh, that's interesting. I might give it a shot. I know we gotta really finalize what setup we're using. I know Will said maybe like the New Hampshire or Richmond setup. I feel like in my mind the Richmond setup would probably be better, just common sense. Like Richmond's kind of similar, so
I was gonna say it's about the same level of banking, about the same length.
Right.
I mean, whatever. It may not be built for it, but it'll still be a great time.
Yeah. I mean, the B car is the B car. It's gonna be tight no matter what. And I'm sure after the race, someone's gonna be pissed off. Fill up my inbox with, "This guy should be on the track," or "Why we let him in this league?" Or and it's like, man, Crabby River.
Yeah, there's a complaint form for that. It's called the "My Ass Hurts."
Damn well, I might make one, and I'll just post it. Say, "Here, fill this out." I don't have to hear anybody.
Yeah, we'll file it in the paper shredder. That's our filing cabinet.
L13.
We could build you a bot to auto reply to where it sounds like you're actually reading them.
I love Nick's attitude. Like,
Hey, Carl, you can kiss my ass. The only reason you won last night is because Josh got caught up in shit.
I tried to get in that series, but I was denied.
Yeah, you're too good.
I'm like, why? That's what I was told. I'm like, okay.
Listen. The difference between you and the last person that was too good to be in the series, though, is coming out of turn 4, you wouldn't drift across the line to win the race.
Yeah, we had one guy.
Backwards.
And
Yeah,
then,
we had one dude.
and then you wouldn't go on and race one Cup Series race, make a fool of yourself, and never show your face again. That's something you wouldn't do.
Yeah, we had a dude, Richmond, almost lapped the field. I mean, he just went out there and put on a clinic on these guys, and coming out of turn 4, he had a mistake and spun out.
No, you're thinking. No, that was Iowa the next week when he backed it across the line.
Oh.
He did the first one on purpose, and then everybody bitched him out. He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry." And the next week he had a mistake, which was totally not a mistake because you can hear him go from fourth to reverse because he knew what he was doing. But nonetheless, it still pisses me off because that's just
kind of like throwing it in your guys' face that I'm too good for you guys.
Yeah, it's okay. I came out of turn 4 and I drove through his car so he couldn't celebrate. Because that really pisses me off. If there's one thing I can take you backing across the rest, that you can back around the entire racetrack after the race. I don't give a damn what you do after you won. But having no respect for people and doing something like that deserves me going through your windshield and killing you.
I like his attitude, and here's why. Because Nick, you're kind of like Like don't take offense to anything I'm about to say because I'm not. But there's a percentage of I'll use fuel as an example because it's the only example I have. You got this group up here that's like really fast, and you kind of have everybody else. And I have some of those guys on my team, and I'm working with them to try to get better. But the attitude like Nick's where he knows his place on the track, and he's like not gonna let a really like alien fast guy like shove him around. And sometimes we get I've seen that like, oh, you're a lot down, get the hell out of my way. It's like, man, it's on the track too. You gotta share the track.
Yeah.
If you catch a lapper like immediately, like you can't just stop and pull over. And I think Boomer had something like that happen to him a couple times already. I'm like, Boomer, just hey man, you didn't do nothing wrong. It is what it is.
I mean, sometimes communication over the radio say, "Hey, I'm coming up on you. Can I pass you left, low or high?" Communicate with them like, "Hey, I'm coming up." That puts a little bit more respect into it versus you expecting somebody to move out of your way for you.
Yeah, I don't ever expect anyone to lay over. I just don't want no one to do something stupid.
Yeah, you want to know where they're gonna go.
Yeah.
I have the opposite of the Ryan Newman thought process. I'll move over for everybody except the leader.
Oh, that's fine.
The leader has to pass me. Everybody else, go right on by. I'm not racing you to keep my lap.
That's right. That's right.
On that topic, it depends for me, honestly. Like, if I think I might be able to hold them off, then sure, I'll do it. But if it's going to be like an inevitable, like they're going to get around me eventually, like there's a chance I'm going to get wrecked trying to hold them off. There's a chance that I'm going to wreck myself because I'm trying to hold them off. I might burn through my equipment. If it's an inevitability, like if I get Blake Gordon behind me, or I get Thomas Bressie behind me, like and they're clearly faster than I am, which is all the time, I'm gonna let them by.
It also depends what point of the race you're in. If it's like lap 20 and you got involved in the first, you got wrecked and you're still trying to fight to get back on the lead lap. I mean, don't do nothing dumb, but race them. But if it's 10 to go, I usually like, oh, just go. I don't want to ruin the finish.
Speaking of Thomas Bressie, he's kind of famous.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
I had no idea that he was in the OCRP Racing League at one point.
I don't know what that is.
I found that out the other. Well, it's unless there's two Thomas Bressies who drive the exact same looking car in iRacing with
Probably
the same.
not.
Yeah. So he was. It's a YouTubers racing league. It's the Orange County Roleplay iRacing League, which is from like a YouTuber named Jeff Faviato who has somewhere around 3 million subscribers on YouTube, and him and Mike Corvo got into it more than once. On the track. So there's some, yeah. I found that out this morning because I was watching it. I was like, wait a second, that's Bressie. I know that. I thought his name looked familiar. I was like, I didn't know he was famous.
It's funny when I look through when I scout leagues or just kind of look at like where everyone's been or what everyone's doing, and you're like, oh, what's this league? And I look and see their roster, and I see a name that like I haven't seen in 15 years. I'm like, man, he's still in this shit. Like that's pretty cool. There's a couple guys I've seen, around that are still doing, whether it's racing or doing designs. Like I'm like, man, like 20, 25 years is a long damn time, and we're still at it.
Yeah, I know on our team, CCR, Josh Hanner has talked before about some of the, like on his old racing team, right back when he started iRacing, like some of the guys who are relatively famous now who got big that were on his team with him. I think if I'm not mistaken, I think he said Ray Alfalo was on his team at one point. So it's really cool having these connections of people that have been in iRacing for a really long time like that.
Yeah, when I first started sim racing, we had a kid in our league named Brent Marks. Now he runs the World of Outlaws. And he's won a couple races. Awesome. So, like, I still see him around, and there's a couple of guys that I know racing the Coke Series that I used to run in NR03, and people are still kicking it, man. It's cool. And then now, like I said, I think I took like a 5-year break because my life got in the way. Then I came back. It's like the whole game changed while it stayed the same. It's like it was like sim racing took this boom period on. Now there's so many new guys, and it's like you guys have only been doing this for about a year or so, and you're still working at it and learning and trying to get better at your craft and your hobby, and to put on the best product that you can, but because it doesn't happen overnight. Like, I wasn't a world-class painter when I started when I was 15 years old. It's no one starts at the top.
Very much so. But hey, man, we appreciate you coming on, man. It's always great to have you on here. Maybe we'll see you in the podium next week. You called your shot, so hopefully you'll be up there, man.
Yeah, I always feel like if I don't get in somebody else's shit, then I'll probably be in the top 10 somewhere.
I got you. Yeah, Josh Last and then Larry Patrick's gonna be covering that on Monday night. I'll be getting ready for my flight out early the next morning, so I'm taking the night off. So they're gonna be out there on the horn.
All right, sounds good. Looking forward to it.
All right, man. You have a good evening.
All right, guys, you too. Later.
All right, that was wonderful fuel, man. It's a wonderful series so far. We're just a few races into the wonderful 16-week season. Carl, Josh, and Nick, they've all been having some fun in this league.
I mean, I
like.
suck, and I'm not ever going to win anything except maybe a super speedway. But damn, am I having a lot of fun?
You have the highest finish out. You have not only the only top 20 out of the three of us. You have a third place finish, so you got that going for you.
I mean, I feel like I'm going to be competitive eventually. I just need to keep working at it.
I mean,
It'll come eventually.
the more cars you run, the more different tracks you run, overall better you're going to be. So, and then especially if you're around, really high quality racers, I mean, it kind of helps you improve your racecraft because you'll be able to ride behind other people to see what lines they're using, how they're saving their tires, how they're doing X, Y, and Z, which ultimately will help you in the long run. So, I mean, it's good to be racing in that league.
Yeah, and this is the segment of the show where we pump Nick up so that it's way more satisfying when we tear him down later.
Hey, listen,
Yes.
I didn't race at all this week in any of except on last Sunday, and I can admit that I don't know how many have we had this week so far? We've had 2. Good.
Well, you also raced Monday.
Well, no, I mean Sunday night in the AOL, the ones we're about to start talking about.
Gotcha.
I have no idea what the fuck I was doing. I seriously, I love the Glen. I'm way faster.
How many times did you mow the grass?
I didn't mow the grass. That was the problem. I just was.
I think the last time we went
whoa.
there, I think we was in the trucks or.
No, that
Oh,
was TNT.
I'm super quick at the Glen. I love Watkins Glen. I should have been competing for a top 5, but I could not get my shit together on Sunday.
Because I know you were blowing the second to last turn the last time we were broadcasting for you. You kept blowing that one, so good to see that you didn't mow the grass there last Sunday.
Yeah, I honestly don't know what the hell was going on. I just couldn't figure it out this last week. I don't know if it was the setup, if it was the track. No idea, but me and that track did not agree this last time.
All right, so as we're kind of already transitioning into, we're going to the AOL segment. Which one are we going to?
We're going to go straight into TNT.
Yeah.
Let's
right.
get
Well,
the enemy of everybody else in the TNT in here. That's a lie. I love Brandon.
Let's get good old Brandon Bernhardt in here. Hey, Brandon, this is the Ghostfire Media guys. You got a copy?
Oh yeah, you guys got me?
Yes,
Yeah.
man. How is your night going?
That's going pretty good.
That's good. All right, man. Tell us a little. It's been a while since you've been on here, so just go ahead and tell all your wonderful fans, because I mean you got a huge fan base now, man. You're up there leading races, winning some. So go ahead and tell
Almost all of them.
Yeah. You got a huge fan base. Go ahead and remind the viewers who you are, who you race for, your hobbies, and all that wonderful stuff.
Yeah, I'm Brandon Bernhardt. I run for Endeavor Racing in the AOL TNT series, Sportsman series, and Cup series, and then in the Fuel series and Premier series, I guess. Yeah, outside of iRacing, don't do a whole lot. Fish once in a while and watch sports is about it. Nothing too exciting.
Oh man, hey man, we appreciate you coming on tonight. You've got experience in mostly every race that we talked about, so it'd be no brainer to have you on here. And You're also one of the new AOLL admins, so you got a surprise a little bit later for us to unveil the new chase format, I guess. I don't know
have to
exactly.
interrupt you. Brandon, take your hat off for a second.
He wants to
Is that? Do you actually have a mullet?
It's used to be a mole. It's kind of grown out now. It's not nearly as good as it used to be.
Okay, because Johnny said, "Look at that mullet," and I thought I was in 1992. I thought Randy Pepper joined us.
Or any NASCAR race.
I don't think Randy Pepper's ever had a mullet. I'm sorry.
Are we at Talladega in the fall? Everybody's got their mullets. The back of their necks are a little cold, so they got to make sure they have their mullet grown.
Yeah, I grew out a mullet for college graduation. Then now it's kind of just all grown out here.
Hey, Randy Pepper has a question. Do you have a Princess Leia headset on? Is that what that is?
No, it's the new Logitech one, and all Best Buy. I broke my last one. All Best Buy had was the white one with the purple. So that's what I got right now, until I can get the different color strap, and then on my desktop I can change the colors of these. It isn't so girly.
Now, when you say you broke your last one, every time I've ever met somebody who has a broken microphone, there's always a story that goes along with it. So how did the last one come to meet its death?
So the sad thing is it actually broke on its own, but the Talladega truck race, I got turned did the travel, going to the checker flag, flipped, did not get to finish the race, stopped before the line, and was seconds away from throwing my headset. Instead, threw something else that was sitting on my desk. Went to put my headset on the next race, and it broke. So it should have just threw it that night.
Well, that's a lot cheaper than what Blake Gordon did one time, because I guess Blake took his VR off one time and threw it across the room.
Yeah, everything I have other than my monitor's kind of stationary down, so I can't chuck my wheel or anything, so I kind of can't fuck up the expensive stuff.
Yeah, I broke my last headset. I know exactly what race it was. It was at Dover, and I think the championship season of TNT last year. But that was an awful race for me, and I just pulled it off really quickly, and it just snapped on the top, and I'm just like, whatever. Whatever.
The only thing I've ever thrown, since I got back into iRace, the only thing I ever threw was a cell phone, because that was the only thing that I could throw. It's the only thing that wasn't like, on the table or on the ground. And I was like, I need to throw something. So I picked up a cell phone.
And we also know that Dan Shirley loves to throw water bottles.
I can't throw water bottles in my house, because when I do, my dog goes after them. She takes the cap off of them, and then there's water everywhere.
Yeah, I try to find the least expensive thing on my desk and chucked it. I've broken quite a few PlayStation controllers, but haven't broken a headset throwing it yet.
I've thrown this headset quite a bit. It's still hanging in there. The little adapter though bit the dust the other week. I'm back here in North Carolina, and I have this little kitten that runs around, and apparently in the middle of the night she decided to eat the USB cable cord to it. So $14 down the drain. Thanks.
There was one race last year, or I think it might have been during this season. I don't remember if it was this season or last season, but Carl's VR went out, and I was seriously expecting to hear him just take his VR off and just hear the next thing go boom, because I thought he was so pissed. He was like, "What the fuck?"
There it is.
Well, so let me talk about that piece of shit VR I had.
Wait, Carl, before you go into this tangent, Ghostfire Media does not believe, nor do we endorse, Carl Henderson's opinion of this headset. If you would like to sponsor us, we will call you the best thing in the world.
Randy needs a new one. His doesn't work.
Go ahead now, Carl.
Yes,
now that we don't endorse it.
Randy and I can both attest to the fact that the Oculus Quest is a piece of garbage.
Carl is no longer a part of Ghostfire Media.
So we were running the Winter Series in the IndyCar, and we're running at Indianapolis. And I was having the race of my life. I was running in second right behind Blake, and I was gaining on him. And it was incredible. And I was like right behind him. And then like he like has a little bit of an issue. I get past him. And it's like, holy crap, I have a chance to win this race. And then, because for some reason the cable wasn't charging it, the battery died. So I had to like pull it over to the pits with no video, whatever.
Oh, that's
And
not
in
the one I
Atlanta-
was talking about. Oh, okay, this one.
Atlanta,
Okay.
it just builds up to it because I was like,
Oh,
okay, I bought a new cable. I'm like, I think I got this thing figured out now. Running in Atlanta, and that was a race that I was competitive-ish in. Should have been a top 5 for me, and the headset just randomly disconnected, took me out of the championship chase. So, yeah,
Carl was having a bad night that night.
I was so angry that night. My wife immediately, like when I came out, said like, "You can just buy another headset. You just go buy one. Just go buy it." And I did. So I'm gonna use
Notice
it.
the actual cables coming out of the headset to where everything is powered through those.
So
It's
Carl,
real helpful.
It didn't help that night that Carl like came into the race and he should have won the race, and then he made a mistake like 20 laps in or whatever and tapped the wall, and he was just waiting for us to be able to pit to fix it, and then and then I fucked him up, so it really didn't help.
So what I mean, it's funny about that race because I was faster than Josh short run, and I had done no practice for long run. This is Atlanta, and the first like 10, 15 laps, Josh and I pulled away from the field, and he was running first. I was in second. I was right behind him. I was faster than he was, and then he pulled away from me. And so that's why I ran so well at Atlanta this year. Is I really, really practiced on long runs.
He was cranky. He wanted that redemption.
I put in some insane hours practicing at Atlanta because I was, if I was going to lose, it wasn't going to be due to a long run again.
Are you saying you put in more hours?
Disconnecting. So.
Are you saying you put in more hours than you should have?
Oh yeah, honestly, I probably do that every week. I won last night, and I still feel like I put in more hours than I should have after that shit show of a race.
Well,
let's go ahead and talk about that.
Let's go right into it. It's Carl, what happened in the shit show of a race? I wasn't there, so I have no idea.
Well, honestly, I mean, I can't complain too much because I was able to get out of it with just 4X. And
I heard something.
The entire 4X was due to another driver who stayed out on their tires. I just pitted. And they drove up into me.
Oh, actually, I did see that. I saw that.
Yeah.
I saw a video of this exact incident. So we're not going to name names because that's not what we do here.
I genuinely do not want to name names because
we're not going to.
Because there are a lot of guys who did cause incidents last night that I consistently see showing up at practice. They are trying. There are a lot of other guys, though, I never see at practice, and they still cause issues.
Brandon, hands down, Brandon up there.
Yeah. He causes more anger on track than anyone else, and it's not because he's bad.
But honestly,
that specific person, Carl, has caused issues.
I know. Yeah.
For a few people in the TNT series, and then he almost cost somebody a win in the trucks at Phoenix. So.
But I like the guy.
But without being a dick, what type of advice can you give him on how do I say this? Getting better.
Be patient and lift. Like, this particular part happened on the front stretch. Like, if you're on the inside there, sometimes you have to lift a little bit. Like, I mean, you can't just gun it the entire time and just, try to swing it around. And he got tight and came up into me. But I have to, I mean, the way the race went last night, it almost screwed me out of my race. I got very fortunate with the cautions at the end because I didn't take tires because I didn't want to get caught up in the kind of stuff that Brandon got caught up in on that one restart. And I mean, Josh, I don't think was directly caught up in it, but lost had a pretty big gap before the caution came out because of it. I mean, I chose not to take tires because of that, and it almost screwed me because I didn't want to have to race with those guys because a lot of guys are having an off night last night.
Yeah, last night was rough, and I know Brandon and I talked about this over Discord earlier too, to where.
There's a few things I want to touch on, though, from what I saw from the race review. So there was the one that happened with Carl, and then there was the one where how many people were in the race last night?
18, I believe, started.
18. I think the car count I had from this incident, it was either on a restart or it was just on the front stretch after a restart, was 12 cars got involved in this wreck. And I think we all know which wreck I'm talking about. What the hell? Josh, how the hell did you get through that?
Pure luck. Absolute luck.
I saw the replay, and I'm looking, and all of a sudden, the track is blocked, and then the Red Seas part, and just here comes.
No, that was pure luck. And honestly, with that, I'm the first person to defend the person that caused it, because again, he's one of those that's constantly learning.
Oh no, I don't.
Doing a great job with it. It just. Okay, I'll admit the only reason that annoyed me is because I was actually looking forward to getting to battle Brandon for the second time when we were out there, because there's no denying Brandon's the nemesis right now. Brandon is the guy to beat in TNT, and I want to do it the right way.
Well, I wanted a long run because during practice, Brandon and I both had a really long run. I think we both hit over 50 laps on the pre-race practice. And I ran the numbers, and I was faster than him on a long run. So I was like really looking forward to this. So I'm like, this is my opportunity to beat Brandon on the track and not, be due to like him getting caught up in something or pit strategy. But I knew I needed a long run. The short run, I did not have the speed. Whereas it seems Brandon has speed just about any time.
So I know the person who did the race review said they didn't get all the insights. The last time I went to Charlotte, I was in fourth, and someone drove through the tri-oval and took me out. Did that happen to anybody last night? Did anybody just drive through the tri-oval and lack of awareness take somebody out?
Oh yeah, there's an instant I had in, but it wasn't necessarily lack of awareness. You just got in the grass and upset the car and got into me. I'm pretty sure there's a bounty out for me from CCR. 2 incidents I was in looked pretty suspicious.
I can confirm.
One in tri-oval where car just comes up and doors me and puts me in the wall, and another one where he comes off the wall and beelines it straight for me. So 2 guys made some money last night, thanks to CCR. But I got to get a raise from Endeavor because being that 3rd and 4th in the totem pole there, I can't pay for these bounties to take out the CCR guys. So.
The CCR bounty, just so you know, it's not for other people to cash in. It only counts when one of us takes you out. Carl may or may not have offered me a backdoor 5-year contract extension if I cost you a win.
Listen, I actually, you guys think it's just CCR against other people, though. I'm paying out bounties to try to get people to wreck Nick, but then he keeps doing it on his own. So,
so do I get the money if I wreck myself? Because I will wreck myself.
We're increasing your pay by 20%.
I got a whole $0 raise. Yeah.
And that's entirely because of you spinning the tires and spinning out at Concord. That was a beautiful move. So
I can officially quit my day job and make iRacing a full-time position.
Yeah, but I always, the tri-oval in Charlotte's always one of those tricky ones because you're in the inside lane and the track just gravitational pull just wants to sling you to the outside, no matter what. Whenever you run the inside line, and then it's even worse when you're in the outside line because you're trying to ensure that you're giving that guy on the inside plenty of room, but you come pretty close to the the flag stand whenever you sling it through the tri-oval there to ensure that you're giving them. And so both sides have to light up. You can't run full throttle there. Both of them, there's a lot of give if you're trying to make a pass there or just run side by side. If you guys are basically equal speed, but you guys are like, hey, hopefully you make a mistake and I'll get past you. But that tri-oval was pretty tricky.
Yeah, it's those 2 little apexes right as you come around the tri-oval that really mess with people, because on the outside it's minorly banked in, but when you're on the grass it's actually it's opposite bank. It's negative bank out, so it messes with you. It's from all the wear and tear of the track.
And another problem with TNT is there's so many guys, to their credit, again, I saw lots of guys Tuesday night running a ton of laps, but there weren't a ton of people on Tuesday night, and therefore they were mostly running by themselves. And you run the ideal line through there, no problem. But there's just a lot of these guys who don't have experience racing at every track with other people. So, I mean, and I ran into that a lot when I started. I mean, I started to question some of the guys who have been in TNT longer than I have, still having issues, but there are a lot of guys that I'm confident are going to keep getting better, and they just have to they have to look at things like last night and see it as a learning opportunity.
Well, and again, we look at some of the restarts that we had. We had people that were restarting in the first 3-4 rows that honestly don't really ever get to have a restart in that situation. And it's a learning curve, but...
Obviously, we're talking about TNT, so we should touch on it. Apparently, there was some controversy with a caution. What? I don't know. All I know is what I read. I don't actually know what happened.
So let Brandon, since unfortunately you were involved in this and benefited from what the controversy ended up being, take it away.
Yeah, so on the said restart, I think you guys alluded to earlier, the guy started in second row, had spun his tires or something, and got into Steven, and then came back with the track on the wall, and then came down, and I was running like fifth at the time. Got into me, and just it bunched up about half the field, I'd say, and a lot of faster guys. And the caution had come out because we all kind of spun through the infield. Well, Ed and Joe were race control, and they went to view it, like review the incident for like EOLs and stuff, thinking the caution would come out because how many guys were in it, and it never came out. So by the time that they got around to actually being able to throw the yellow, we were 1 or 2 laps past the caution. So yeah, it was a little late, but it was caution that in my opinion should have came out. I know, yeah, it did benefit me, but I still think it should have came out regardless. The biggest issue.
Many people are going to argue that one.
How many cars spun into the infield?
4
No,
or
I was
5.
in there.
No,
Yeah, there was quite a few.
There's not even a conversation. Again, like iRacing's mechanics should have had the caution come out. If they didn't, I mean, we're all human. You guys don't have the actual like physical timing and scoring lines, and you don't have the push of a button. Hey, tower, throw the caution. You don't have that. So
I think the what there are more issues from what I'm reading on the Facebook about it was the fact that it was 2 laps later, so it wasn't instantaneous. I think if it was instantaneous, I don't think anybody would have an issue. I think it's just some people in their eyes benefited from them throwing it 2 laps later versus it not coming out because iRacing didn't do it. But I think the league as a whole, the admins have done a really good job of being consistent. That if it's a multi-car crash, that they will throw a manual caution. But like you guys said, that Joe and Ed were reviewing it, thinking that iRacing did throw it since it was a huge crash and involved a lot of people. And while they were reviewing it, they didn't notice that they did not throw it. So when they did notice it, that's when they threw it. So, it takes a little bit to run through the actual video to see exactly what happened.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with being late because that happens. I mean, they're people running race control. They can't be perfect. The only thing I would ask the admins to consider, and I've called for this before on other situations, like if there are set rules around this in the rule book, nobody can argue about it. Like if you say that, like, okay, if there's a single car that spins, they go into the grass or go off track, and iRacing doesn't throw a caution, we're not going to throw one. But if there's 2 or more, or 3 or more, and they don't throw a caution, we'll manually throw it. I think if it's just written out, I don't think there's going to be arguments about it. At that point, you just point to the rule book.
But before we let the admin in the chat right now comment on this, honestly, I'm kind of reaching a point with the AOL rulebook that we're almost getting a little too specific to where we're going to have to start breaking them out into sections, and then they're going to have subsections, and then they're going to have amendments and things like that to where...
Yeah, it's going to turn into NASCAR.
In all honesty, it's friends racing friends. And you know what? this is one of those situations that, you know what? I was a little annoyed at, like, the onset of it, and all I thought to myself was, okay, apparently we aren't going to get a caution. I spent about a half a lap not really gunning it, waiting for the flag to be thrown, and then I reach my oh shit moment. It's not coming. Go. And
Well, I mean, to be fair, I'm only suggesting this because I know a lot of times admins have to make judgment calls, but this feels like it could be a very black and white thing, like to me. I mean, it's very similar to the technical difficulties rule. Like when if you have technical difficulties, like you get to if you get back in like the first 10 laps or whatever it is, you get to get those waiver rounds. And that was put in the rule book. I think I just if I'm in a situation where I get caught up in a wreck and the admins don't see it and there's no caution that comes out, it would be nice to know what point I can say, hey, race control.
3 cars were involved.
There was no caution here. Like, should there be a caution? Especially in situations where we don't have race control, like in the Cup Series or the Truck Series. That's all I was thinking.
Yeah, whenever the race controls in racing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think there's a fine line to all that. What's too much rule, what's not enough ruling. Yeah, I do agree. The 2 laps, it's a rough. That was 2 laps to wait for the caution to come out. But Ed, they apologized for it. They owned up to it. That they were just watching the review, and it was late to throw the caution. Because it should have been an iRacing caution. It wasn't. So, I get that point. The addition to the rule book. Yeah, this is something that was new. Like, I think for the most part in TNT, these multi-recs like this, caution does come out for iRacing, so it's not something we were prepared for. That 5 cars in the infield and there's no caution for it. It's that's where you get, because like, what if 2 cars is self-spin go in the infield? Well, if you put a rule where 2 or more cars and caution comes out, well, if they're self-spinning, I don't know if the cautions come out for it. So it's just kind of like Josh was saying, you get to the point where it's nitpicky. How much do you define and how much do you just kind of leave up for race control discretion? But yeah, I agree. There could be a way to make it more specific. I'm not sure.
honestly, I think just leaving it up to discretion. But like, again, since Sportsman, Cup Series, there is no actual race control. It really comes down to, are we going to make somebody that's actually out there running be like, we had 3 cars pile up at the back here. Is it going to become an oh shit, oh well kind of moment? But again, that kind of stuff doesn't necessarily happen. It happens more often in Sportsman, but it's from 7 months of broadcasting Cup. I think I've maybe seen it once.
Yeah, I think last night might have been a one-off. It was probably the 2-lap thing that caught everybody off guard.
Yeah,
but yeah, there's been times in Sportsman and maybe in Cup where these wrecks have happened and people called it out with no iRacing caution, and it took a lap or 2 to get the admins to, okay, we'll throw a caution here. That's just them racing and trying to decipher if really needed or not. So that's where it kind of plays into where the leniency there, I guess.
If it happens to someone next time, just go park it in the middle of the track. It'll throw it the next time the leaders come by.
So,
I'm not advocating for that. Please don't do that.
We're not here to nitpick, but I guess the only thing you can do next time is maybe if there's 2 people in race control, instead of both of you going to look at the incidents right away, sit there for 30 seconds, maybe see if the caution comes out. But again,
I think this is a very big one-off.
Yeah, it's a one-off. It's probably never going to happen again. And they're probably, Ed and Joe are probably going to sit down together and be like, what can we do differently anyway to make sure this never happens again, because they do the race control for TNT. So they're probably going to do something like that without even having to talk about it. So, but they've done a fantastic job since they took over. So
we've had some talks already about it, but yeah, like it was kind of a random deal that just happened, So they weren't necessarily prepared for it. So just big learning experience here. Sucks that it pissed off some guys, but in reality, the guys that it truly pissed off and definitely pissed off, it shouldn't have. It had no effect on their race pretty much whatsoever. It actually helped them more than it hurt them. So, yeah, just a big learning point.
Gotcha. Well, let's quickly move over to sportsmen and talk about Nashville Super Speedway. How did that go on Wednesday night?
I was gonna say, do we want to bring in Joe to get his opinion on this a little bit too?
I'm good with that.
Yeah. Mr. Densmore, you got a copy?
Hey guys,
We're just starting to
Josh,
talk
did you-
sportsmen, so
that was sportsman, huh?
yeah.
It's going well.
Oh man,
Josh, did you say you decided to park it in the middle of the track at Indy, but decided to tow instead?
Well, no, I actually screwed up my
I
pit
heard that.
entrance and
Oh, okay.
decided to. For a fraction of a second, I thought about just leaving my truck there so it would throw the caution and I wouldn't go like 3 laps down. But
So I've had a dude in an official iRacing event where he parked it right at the entry of pit road. We would go green and he would just park it and we'd go underneath caution. Like as soon as it went green, went yellow. It was the most annoying thing in the world, dude. We were all so angry.
What a dick.
Oh, but no. So we were at Nashville Super Speedway last night, or Wednesday night, not last night. How did that race go for everybody?
It was a really good race.
I was gonna say Brandon. I think of everybody on here had the best run. Sorry, I'm off camera because my cat's trying to break things.
I kind of got lucky there. I running, 7th to 10th the whole race. Took me about half the race to figure out how to really nail one and two. So I was running just, solid with top 10 and then deal with it. And then I was staying out with Blake for that late, to kind of pit later. I was kind of doing the whole race. And we just got lucky with that caution. Was able to restart third and a good restart with Blake. And I think I was pretty good through 1 and 2, maybe a little bit better than 1 through 1 and 2, but 3 and 4 he got me by probably a bus or two. So I was happy I could Greg got in the wall and I was able to hold Greg off and took a 8th place finish turned into 2nd. So
we won't talk about why I ended up at the back of the field because it's well-worn territory. I may have sped in pit lane.
That's shocker.
I know, right?
Yeah, that pit lane speed sometimes can get you.
Especially when you don't practice entry at all.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a heck of a time getting off pit road Wednesday for some reason. I lost a ton of time not coming in, but coming out.
Yeah.
No idea.
I don't have issues with that. I just fry my tires.
That did a pretty good job. I almost got pole. I was just about edging out pole, which surprised me. So,
Yeah.
but I didn't have the long run. What's that?
I heard tire wear was it actually played a huge factor in it, like be able to conserve your tires there. I've yet to race iRacing or not iRacing, but
I
Nashville Super
qualified.
Speedway.
I qualified 5th and thought I was just like, hey, I can actually keep up with these guys. And at about lap 7, I was just like, nope, I'm dropping back to like 12th right now.
Yeah, I myself felt pretty good. I was keeping up with Justin, and I myself didn't get the tire wear that I typically find myself getting. It was really odd. I fell back to 5th before I ended up having the pit, which is really unlike what I find myself doing typically. So I felt the setup felt really funky going into 1 and 2 for some reason.
See,
at least for me.
I enjoyed 1 and 2. It was 3 and 4 that I had issues with. I pushed a little bit too hard coming out, and I may have used the wall and coming out of 4 to straighten my truck once or twice.
Yeah. I mean, I think yeah, I felt like 1 and 2 was super inconsistent with the truck with the way the grip was. You'd either enter it and it would be wobbly, or that you enter it and it would slide up a little bit, and it wasn't because of that bump. It was pretty consistent with the way I entered it. It just really felt weird.
At 1 and 2, you had to hit perfectly every time, or you're gonna mess something up there. Setup made it a little bit tight, so that kind of compounded that. But yeah, 3 and 4 I could roll through pretty good. Just wasn't very quick. But yeah, 1 and 2, you hit it perfect. You know, you noticed it on the track, but you mess it up. You know, you're losing time.
Oh yeah, you were running up to the high line if you missed your entry, and luckily I only did that like 4 or 5 times throughout the whole 100 laps. But of course, I did it at the worst time imaginable, to where somebody be like a solid second behind me, and then suddenly I'm exiting 2, and they're only a half second behind me.
Was that I was worried, by the way, when I exited turn 3 at one point, when I went by you with fresher tires, that I caused you to run up on the track. I had to go back and review it because I was like, did I give him enough room?
Nope, that was just me. Yeah, I couldn't run that. It helps. It would help if I had, practice Monday, practice ever.
Know the feeling.
It's hard to practice for the truck races now and running fuel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially after Monday's race at freaking Sebring.
I still had a blast there, but that's a whole nother story that, yeah.
I would have liked my motor not to explode with 4.5 minutes left in the race after I had a abysmal beginning, so, but whatever. It is what it is.
No. But, all right. Since we didn't broadcast Sportsman, I think it's time. I'm actually waiting here and excited to hear what news we have for the Cup.
Yep. Yeah. So we're gonna talk about the chase format that we're going to be running with in the Sportsman and the Cup. But
this is going for both.
Yeah, it's for both. Yep. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if Brandon you want to do it.
Yeah, sure, I can.
Yeah.
I attempt you here.
There you go.
Yeah. So I guess Sportsman. I'll start with them first. There'll be 18 drivers in the chase this year. To get into the chase, you have to have 18 points, or if you have a win and you've met half the races, like you've actually started half the races, not provisionals, you will qualify for the chase. So let's say you're 20th, but have made half the races, you will bump the 18th guy out, and you will be in the chase if you have a win. At the start of the chase, the points will reset to 3,000. Then there'll be 3 bonus points given for each win. Then after each round, the points will reset, and then you'll get the bonus points plus if you win in the chase. And then pretty much the big new thing this year, each round of the chase, if you win, you advance to the next round automatically. For Sportsman, Cup's pretty similar, other than it's 16 drivers for Cup. The reset's at 2,000 points instead of 3,000, but everything else is the same. If you have a win right now, you're outside the top 18 or 16, but made over half the races, you will make it into the chase this year. And then the big new one is winning a round and you advance to the next one.
Yeah, so the winner gets to move on. So one thing that we will have, unfortunately, the way the program is it will remove provisionals won't count because of software itself, but we might be able to. We'll see if hopefully they'll program it before then, so it won't remove provisionals. So we'll remove provisionals as a starting race for the chase itself. So that way we don't have so many folks in there. Johnny did go in and clean up some of the provisionals for a lot of folks that practically hasn't even raced at all this season already. So that's your Sportsman and your Cup. So now we have the winners having the ability to come in at 50% of the races, and then of course if you win in the division during the actual piece of it, you'll move forward.
So is it 50? I'm assuming it's 50% of the regular season, not the playoffs.
Correct.
All right. Well, I mean, that's big news. I'm right there on the, having missed a lot due to vacation and moving and all that good stuff. I'm right there on the borderline, so I might be kicked out of the top 16 there for the Cup Series. It's going to be interesting for this upcoming week here.
It was, I think, looking at it, there was Sportsman. There was one or two drivers that were close, Sean and then Hanner. Sean, if he finished out the races, I think he will be a driver that'll advance. Hanner is right on the edge. You'd have to make pretty much the rest of the races to advance. Same with Hanner. Hanner was in Cup. If he would need to hit like the rest of the races to be able to make his win count for an advancement. So it wasn't a huge. I did it because there wasn't a huge influx. It'd only be a couple drivers, and they'd have to play their cards right to actually make it work.
Yeah, if I'm doing my math correctly right now, so Hanner's currently started 10 races, and there are 2 races remaining, 27 race season. So, yeah, he wouldn't be able to hit half at this point. I think he's out, if I'm not mistaken.
He'd have to have 14. Like, the 14, yeah. So he'd have to have. Yeah.
But he's out.
Yeah. There wasn't a huge, like I said, when we were first talking about it, they would have to have pretty much made the rest of the races for it to actually come into a huge factor. But there were a couple of guys that could make it work.
Like in the trucks, I could make it work if I make them like 6. Just have to hit 6.
Yeah.
So we're going to be seeing Nick on Wednesdays now?
You will be for the next 5 races. I wasn't racing because I didn't have a chance to actually make the chase. I actually am kind of quick in the trucks, but now that I actually have a chance to race for something, I will be there on Wednesdays.
So we should have waited one more week to announce this.
Yeah, probably. Hey, but I have somebody to run with, except for Derek Schilling on Wednesdays, and I mean.
But do you want Nick running with you?
I mean, as long as he wants to run with Derek, I'm good. I don't like leaving a guy alone in his team since Randy missed this week. Well, he was there for all of like 5 laps.
Well, I mean, there's an elephant in the room about that if we want to be a jerk to Adam.
There's no jerk about it. But yeah, so we're going to be going to Cup this week. Where do you got?
Indy.
Where is the Indy?
Yep.
It's going to be a fun race. Too bad nobody ran in. Was it Indy Road Course? Correct.
No, it's the Oval.
I just did the Indy Road Course. That's right.
Yeah, we did it when NASCAR was off.
That's right. I ran that one. So yeah, that was actually a fun week. So too bad nobody was in here ran IVRL on Tuesday to get that experience up for running it. I mean, they look like they put on a good show on it Tuesday night. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Sunday race is going to have to bring. I will be watching as a viewer here, and Josh will be the one covering down on the broadcast.
I'll be on as well.
I was going to say, I'm not going to be alone. And I ran practice with the setup that they have. I have to ask, where did that setup come from? Because it seems... Okay, it's real tight.
Real tight must be the way you're driving it.
Hey, I had Ed that agreed with me.
Because a full run should only give you like 1% or 2 between the front and the rears with that.
I didn't. I did 5 laps.
Oh, well, there you go.
That setup came from Edwards Setup Shop?
Yeah, it's the same setup person that built the one that we use for the truck series, which was very competitive.
See, I like that because I'm especially at Indy, I very much like breaking the back end loose going through the turns to just give it a little pop of throttle to break the back end around to complete my turn, collect it, and then go.
Yeah. So that you can drive it on the rear tire, just like the trucks, and it's very controllable. So it should produce some really good racing, like we would see. And we're really trying to push better setup generation, and we're partnering with a couple larger entities that do create setups, and then we'll take a look at them to make sure that they're going to be at least competitive that way. There's nothing worse than driving a plow box. It just doesn't give us good racing at all for everybody, and it's frustrating. So, I mean, we'll try our best to never give us. I'd rather see the league have a pushy setup than something that's so squirrely that, you can't even get into the corner without losing it or coming off the middle. But we're looking at trying to find more of a balance, which I think the last couple setups. I mean, even the setup that we had this Wednesday was a custom setup that we ran the first time we were at Nashville.
Yeah, I mean, I'm one of those people that I love a loose setup. I don't know why. I just love it.
A loose car is a fast car.
Yes,
Someone
but
with
we're not here
many
for speed.
championships said that.
Yes, that's very true. Loose car is a fast car. If we were an open setup league, then would absolutely agree with that. Speed isn't the key when a fixed setup. It's more of a stable, controllable slide is what you're looking for. I would absolutely love to give a setup that I think is loose and let everybody else try to drive it. There's probably only a select few in this league that would enjoy that. So
did you try the Concorde setup that we used in TNT? Because I think that would fit the description that you were talking about.
I'll have to give it a shot. No, I did not try that setup.
Pretty solid setup.
Nice.
Yeah, it's the exact setup that we ran in Fuel and what was their Sportsman, and I had a blast because it was relatively difficult to keep the back end under control, but at the same time, once you figured it out, it was fast.
Yeah, those ARCA cars, you can really steer with the throttle, especially at short tracks. They really breathe steering. They're like little versions of the super late model, really, which would be a blast to drive.
I still think we need to do a modified league.
Should do the
I think that would help
tracks.
a lot of people out though, is having just a short track only with cars meant to be on a short track. So that sounds like a fun deal right there.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of trying to take a cup car down to Nashville, we'll take a modified down to Nashville. It'd be a whole lot funner race.
What do you mean, sportsmen running the fairgrounds and the trucks?
Oh, I did the cup at the fairground.
So I have a question for Joe and Brandon. This is going to go off topic for a second. This is going to go towards the playoffs. So I'm looking, and I want to know, what is the rule specifically about provisional? Wasn't it they have to be requested? Because I noticed we were just giving them out for a long time.
Yeah, we started giving them out at the beginning of the season this year. That rule wasn't in there anymore. It's just the people are still asking for them.
Okay, and what was the process for asking for them?
It was on the Facebook feed.
Okay.
At the time when we had it in there.
Yeah,
And 4. That answers my question.
Yep.
All right. So
honestly, we're trying to get it so that we can remove the provisionals counted as a race, but the software doesn't. Isn't there a software guy in one of these 5 boxes in here?
Yeah.
I don't know which one it is.
We
can
already
have him fix it.
He's already. What software are you guys actually using to keep track of these things?
The Dan Lisa, whatever the hell it's called now,
The
Sim Hub.
Yeah, the software guy that's in here tried to make it to where they would give control over to him, and unfortunately they didn't go that way because
Yeah. I have a lot of opinions on the direction that they're taking it right now. The new owners, and more power to them. It's not very good, but I mean, I did create that website to keep track of TNT points with the drops calculated in. That's pulling straight from Dan Lisa, but then just adding some additional math on top of it. So if you guys need anything where, take the points from Dan Lisa and modify them a little bit somehow, following some rule set, let me know and I can help you guys with that.
Sure, we'll take that back and discuss it with everybody and see how that could play out. What type of lead time would you need? That I'm putting on podcast pressure here.
It depends on exactly what you need, but I've already got a lot of that system wrote out to pull the scores from them, so shouldn't be terribly long. Like a day or two.
So, I mean, I'm looking at the comments, and according to Ed, that SimHub, they're waiting on them to have the provisionals be dropped from the calculation they're doing, and it doesn't look like they're going to actually, have that done in time, so provisionals may count towards the 50.
Yeah.
Yeah. Message me after this. Give me details what you guys want exactly, and I'll see what I can do.
That'd be pretty cool.
Well,
yeah, we could do something like that because we could probably use. We'll talk about it offline.
Yep.
Joe's got 1,000 ideas that going through his head right now. I know what he's trying to figure out exactly which one he wants to say. Oh man, hey, but I'm looking forward to seeing you guys out there on the Indy or Oval. It's always a great show. Last time I ran it was with Josh, and we did the Indy 500.
The full length.
Oh my gosh, Indy 500. You even want to look at the track after that?
It was one of those rare times that I actually felt really good about myself after running with Blake, because Blake managed to use the 2 fast repairs that we had allotted within the first 45 minutes. Granted, the setup was kind of crap, but it was also my favorite kind of crap. And it was just the stock Indy Oval for the Delaria 12s. But again, it was one of those that the back end was loose.
If you made every lap a qual lap, you just burned your tires up and you were done. So a lot of people found that out the hard way.
I was out of that race not much longer after Blake was.
I think it ended up being just me and Josh just fighting out for the last
and it was
forever.
I think it ended up being.
Uh-oh. Yeah, it took way too long. Even to the point to where, if I remember, Justin Anderson actually went, ate dinner, came back, and was only 50 laps down.
And he still ran until the end. He, as a trooper right there, he went and actually had dinner with the wife, came back, and then hopped back in. It's like, all right, I'm going to finish this race. I think he picked up a couple spots.
I mean, that's what happens when people end up dropping out.
But I think Greg was there, and he had to take off shortly after Justin did. But we appreciate everybody that came out and ran that day.
Yeah, it was fun. I kind of wanted to do another one like that, but not Indy.
No.
I pushed for a full-length Coke 600, but that got ignored for Indy.
It wasn't ignored. It was just we run cup cars already.
But I like Charlotte.
I mean, Charlotte likes me. I don't like Charlotte. Even though now Carl's faster than me, and I don't like that.
I am not faster than you, Charlotte. I think
at race pace.
On a long run, maybe. But I still stand by the fact that on the runs that we're going to have most of the time at Charlotte, both you and Brandon are faster than I am. So
I got you. All right. Hey, Brandon, Joe, we appreciate you guys coming on. Brandon, you were here for a few of the segments. We appreciate you coming on. And Joe, we appreciate you coming in to give us the insight into this the new Chase Cups and Sportsman series. And good luck for the rest of the season.
Yeah, if you guys don't mind, I have something to plug. If you guys don't mind me plugging it real quick.
Go ahead.
Go for it.
Yeah. So Endeavor Racing, December 5th. It's a Sunday.
Forgot about this.
We're planning a full-length super late model race that mimics the Snowball Derby. So it'll be at Five Flag Speedway, and then it'll be a 300-lap race. We're planning a comp caution right now at 100 and 200. Fuel's about 120 right now, so we can't go just halfway. So if you're to do the 100, 200. Right now we're hoping to get a 36-car field where we're limiting it at. If we end up getting more than 36 guys, we'll have an LCQ. Right now it's open to any AOL member and any field member that wants to run. Right now we have 8 guys signed up, 7 from AOL and 1 from Fuel. So really hope to get some more guys signed up for that, especially on the Fuel side. Those guys are pretty quick. We're looking to get a prize fund put together, a winnings purse, some contingency awards, stuff like that. So looking for sponsors or, any drivers want to donate, that'd be awesome. So yeah, if you are interested in joining the race, you can get a hold of me or Blake Gordon on Facebook or Discord. And then if you or a company is interested in sponsoring, just let us know. It will be broadcasted. GFM has graciously decided to broadcast it for us.
As much as I wanted to run it, I'm going to be in the booth.
Yeah, so I know Josh wants to run it, so I'm expecting the rest of the GFM guys to make up for him on the track.
Josh, if you want to run it, I'll broadcast.
Oh no, I don't want to make an ass of myself. As Brandon has got to see me running SLMs.
You don't want Nick to call out your assness on the track there?
No, I just want to keep doing it to him.
I ran some laps there. It should be a pretty fun race. It's a pretty fun setup there, and Super Late Model is always fun to run. So hoping we can get a good car count and get a good race out of it.
So Josh, I just want to be sure here. Did you say you want to keep doing it to Nick?
Racing.
Damn it.
Right.
I'm not into that, Josh. I'm sorry.
Damn it.
You might swing that way, but unfortunately for you, good sir, I may accept all lifestyles, but I am not a part of all lifestyles.
Yeah. All right.
That's a great way to end this.
Yes, it is. All right. All right. Well, that is going to conclude tonight's podcast. Well, we appreciate everybody coming out and commenting. We got quite a bit of crowd out there commenting on the podcast. We appreciate you guys coming out, listening to us, and giving us your feedback and interacting with us. We love it whenever people comment, no matter if it's a podcast or broadcast. So make sure you guys tune in for Sunday night at Indy. On Monday night, we're going to go to Fuel at USA International. Tuesday night, IVRL at Michigan. Wednesday night, I think we're back at USA International.
Yep.
Next Thursday, where were we at?
Martinsville.
At Martinsville.
Martinsville.
Oh God.
A lot of short track racing.
Oh,
coming
yeah.
up.
Bring the short tracks.
All right. Well, that's it for us tonight. I appreciate you guys coming out. I am Adam Wood, and that's the rest of the Gross Fire Media Group below us. You guys have a wonderful weekend.